Hello, everyone. Happy 2025. Start to the new year. This is Arcanum Ventures. I'm Sasha. I'm here with my good friend and co founder, Carmelo. And today, we are taking 10 short minutes to look into a brand new blockchain that launched Plume Network. Plume is a blockchain focused solely on the tokenization of RWAs or real world assets. They claim to have tokenized over $1 billion in real world assets so
So I
far,
think the future is pretty
including
bright, and
mineral
for us, our
rights,
main focus
including
is to launch our
financial
mainnet.
instruments, and a whole lot more. When we're going to dive into what Plume Network is, what the token does, and if we think it would be a good investment for us. So stick around till the end when we give our verdicts. Carmelo, how are you doing, man? What's your take on RWAs in this new year?
Doing well. Feeling rusty. We haven't done a video in a while, but I'm excited. And there's so many projects right now launching, so it's exciting times, and it's getting harder and harder to choose a project to cover on our weekly eye test. But I think Flume's a good candidate. We obviously are both familiar with RWAs, and as much as I hate the word real world assets, I think it's the stupidest term in crypto, or one of them. But there's no denying that RWAs are going to be a massive, massive story this year, driving the crypto blockchain space, especially with the new administration that just got sworn in. I think all these traditional finance giants are going to start moving everything on chain, which is exciting for blockchain. So, yeah, I think Plume is well positioned to do quite well, depending on how they've architectured their token and their blockchain that's going to be handling all these assets. So I'm excited to dive in and figure out what exactly they're doing, what's the value prop for investors, and what the token does. I mean, we can use our imagination for a blockchain token, but I want to see it on paper or on the screen, what they're actually doing with this token and why it might make sense to invest in it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that this RWA trend has been interesting, and it seems like we're starting to see a lot more traction around RWAs. I find this term funny as well, because it kind of implies that there's fake world assets out there somewhere, but crypto's got to latch onto something for a narrative or a cycle.
Yep.
But we're about to take 10 short minutes on Plume, and so let me get my stopwatch up. And so, Carmelo, if you're ready, we will go ahead and start.
Yeah, let's rip apart a company.
Yeah, all right. And so 10 short minutes starting right meow. Okay, and Plume Network. We've got up crypto rank, and for everybody that's watching, Plume Network launched already. They launched their token, I think, over a day ago. And the token is sitting at just above 8 cents, close to 9 cents. But we're going to treat this as a sort of aftermarket investment, because we know that Plume has been really hyped. There's a huge community, a big ecosystem, and we really like the idea of purpose-driven blockchains and what they kind of stand for real adoption, like DPIN or RWA. So I see right here we've got a fully diluted valuation of this blockchain of 900 million. That's kind of massive, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of absurd when you market against some of the meme coins that have been launching that are hitting $40 billion valuations. But this is an actual useful blockchain that's meant to build something and grow over time. So I sincerely hope that people will continue to put the magnifying glass on projects that are actually building something useful. And I think this will be quite useful for the RWA space, depending, like I said, how they build it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks like the token price is not so volatile, compared to a lot of these meme coin launches that we've seen, particularly Trump. But we've got live price action. We've got, I think, some pretty serious backers for Plume Network as well, right?
Yeah. I think I saw Han on there, HashKey, Galaxy.
Yeah, Superscript, HashKey Galaxy. You're right. They got some angel investors as well. Calvin Liu, Andrew Kang. And so, yeah, this is a pretty good looking cap table, right? And so here's a bit of a breakdown on the tokenomics. They've got some going to backers, community ecosystem, foundation, and core contributors, everything that you might imagine for a layer one blockchain. But our
Looks like
goal remains the same.
Oh, it looks like
Go
they
ahead.
just raised a $20 million Series A just a month ago, literally a month ago. So that's quite a bit.
Oh yeah, that is a lot. I wonder if that's against equity or the token actually.
I think just the token. I don't know if they have a company or maybe a foundation, but that's a good question too. And that obviously factors into what the token might do and how governance is involved. Most blockchains, if they are trying to be at least a little bit decentralized, they have some governance element.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're assuming that it is a foundation, a token foundation, and there is, real corporate governance around the token, then we have to consider the token as being a measure of ownership for the actual protocol or the company. And
Yep.
so I've got the website up. Boom. Here's the website. Um, Very clean, very nice. I like this.
So it looks like they have season one of an airdrop happening now, which seems to be common play for all of these newly launched blockchains. And it's true, we always pick apart these blockchains that are launching that are just catch all, like, oh, we're faster than Solana. But it's good to see some, specific use blockchains that are building very deliberately for one use case or, one cluster of use cases. So that's cool. Um, they make a point to say it's a public blockchain as well. So I think that implies that a lot of the companies out there, like JP Morgan, for instance, are using blockchain infrastructure backend to sort of port around financial vehicles. It's just not available or transparent for the general public. So moving this to a more public setting that's less opaque and anybody can use it is obviously a step in the right direction. I think we both can align with that goal.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, someone at some point was going to have to launch a network that specifically caters towards like public sector attraction for traditional financial instruments that are probably being brought on chain behind like a walled garden, like JP Morgan Chase or BlackRock or whoever, right?
Yep.
A lot of this infrastructure is being launched by big banks that are going to be just, trying to create a little bit more transparency or ease of auditing or whatever for their
Hmm.
own financial instruments, trying to capitalize on the fact that like transparency fits into the core ethos of blockchain. And then why not build a blockchain for these traditional financial instruments? That's like a nice kind of like a, first mover advantage for Plume because I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like where you're hovering the mouse right now, they have several core products, but chief among those is PUSD. So they're
Mm.
obviously looking to launch their own stablecoin in addition to their own fungible asset, which is certainly interesting. And I think you and I both know that, I think the most lucrative business you could have in blockchain is a stablecoin business. Those guys like Tether and Circle, they're making obscene amounts of money in probably one of
Printing
the
money.
boringest ways possible, but boring is good. If you're a business, boring is really good.
That's absolutely true. And like, let's be honest, launching a stablecoin is not easy. Like the regulatory red tape around
Yep.
launching a stablecoin is such a disaster. And the fact that Plume hopefully has launched like a fully compliant stablecoin is really impressive.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
fully backed. Thank goodness it's fully backed. Oh my god. I really didn't want to see like partial collateral there or something.
I mean, if you leverage
Um,
a $1 billion portfolio of real world assets uh, as collateral for a stablecoin, then it sort of makes sense.
I mean, that could work, right? If you're collateralizing your stablecoin with, like, let's say, green bonds, commercial real estate, like any sort
That,
of like really stable debt, yeah, any sort of like stable financial instruments. That's pretty good. That's like just as good as cash nowadays, right? Considering cash is quite inflationary lately.
yeah, arguably better.
I'm wondering, like, we haven't seen anything around the token though. We've got PUSD,
Maybe on the
but
Plume
there
Plume
is
chain.
Slim Chain. Okay, so we've got like a Git book for documentation, and the link takes us to the architecture around the actual blockchain, which is cool. They've got a branded tokenization engine known as Arc, which is interesting. So I'm hoping that a lot of their tokenization infrastructure is prioritizing ease of use, so they can onboard a lot of like non-crypto companies looking to bring their assets on chain, like real estate, like bonds, like debt, etc.
Yep.
Smart wallets, which is good to have.
Yeah, so it looks like they're, this classic analogy we always use. with the picks and the shovels, the selling the picks and the shovels instead of just worrying about one digital asset to bring on chain. So they're putting the architecture in place. So they have products. They have a way. I think for Arc it said bring any asset on chain, which is kind of interesting. You're right. Like legislation is kind of the limiting factor here, but it seems like from a tech perspective, it's all achievable and possible and built already, which is really cool. What I'm wondering is, does this network have fees? And what the token is doing. I don't know how any money made by the protocol translates to price increase for the token, which is obviously something as especially a pure token investor, how that translates. Like, how will this accrue value over time as more people put assets on the network?
It's a very good question, right? And so I'm really curious about what's happening here because we do have investors that saw the value in this protocol. They bought into this protocol, they've invested. We don't know if it's equity or we don't know if it's token, but they're claiming that it's a public blockchain. And so I'm wondering, like, are they beholden to asset accrual for the asset holders? Like, it makes sense that more people building on this blockchain are going to bring more demand for it. There's going to be more transaction volume, and maybe that activity translates to a higher asset demand.
Hmm.
We haven't seen anything around fees. We haven't seen anything around like treasury accruals. There's nothing around the actual token itself besides the fact that they're kind of just implying that they need a token for a blockchain to operate. But still, nothing about gas, right?
I mean, it could be some interplay between the stable coin and the actual protocol token that makes them some money, maybe as I don't know, a swapping fee. Maybe it's the only thing you can swap their stablecoin for, but you think there would be a little bit more information about that. And then under
The
official
other
tokens, there it just says stablecoin. So it's like it's almost as if the coin they launched yesterday doesn't exist.
It's very strange, right? I mean, like it could make sense if the Plume token is like this sort of like fluid asset on the back end where any transactions being converted in and out of the Plume token.
Hmm.
So it's like the one core asset that's allowing value to transact between parties on the network. But still, without a fee structure, we have no idea how the treasury is accumulating some value, how the foundation can continue to operate as a public blockchain. I'm not seeing anything for fee on this document anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting, and strictly from a token economic perspective, I'm curious to see what they've done here because now I just want to know. But yeah,
And that's our 10 minutes, guys. The alarm is going off. But yeah, like this is really interesting. I'm just a bit confused. Well, it's not the first time we've been confused after a 10-minute eye test. Before we dive into verdicts, I do want to remind everyone, thanks again for sticking with us through the beginning. We're getting into a new year here, 2025. We've got a lot of big plans, some fun interviews coming up, some interesting discussions, some debates. We're going to try a few new things out. We hope you guys like them. But as always, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you tap that like button, throw us a follow, stick around, drop some comments as well if there's a project that you think we should look out for the next eye test. But yeah, let's dive into the verdicts. Carmelo, what's your take on Plume Network?
yeah, I think it's not going to be a surprise, and you already know. But I'm a little biased. I went to a party for Plume, I think in Singapore or Thailand, I can't remember. And
What?
the team's pretty nice, and I obviously love the narrative. You and I are working. We launched actually another business, Trust 3, in the RWA space. So we're definitely plugged into real world assets. We like real estate especially, and we're looking for any companies that are building, because I truly believe if I had to make a list of narratives that are going to drive blockchain through 2025 and beyond, there's no denying that on-chain traditional finance vehicles, like we mentioned, debt, bonds, real estate, pretty much anything that you can invest in, even gold, like it can be put on chain. It's just a better way to organize stuff. It's kind of like if you could get everybody to buy into it, it's just a better system to use. So if you truly believe that, then investing in the Plumes of the world that are looking to build that infrastructure makes sense. What doesn't make sense is what we're investing in. We don't know. So I would never say yes to something I don't understand, and I don't understand what the token does. I understand that Plume, the company, has good ideas and that they might be building something special, but I'm left with a lot of questions after seeing the documentation and the omission of anything mentioning the fungible asset that launched yesterday. So I see they have a huge community. They're doing a big airdrop. They have obviously generated some excitement, but I definitely would need more time to check out the team, to check out what they're building, the future roadmap, the products, like diving into that and what it actually looks like and how they charge companies or people to put stuff on chain. Like there must be some sort of fee associated with this, or else it doesn't make sense. It's just a charity. So I like what they're doing. I would need more time, and I'll give them a thumbs up because I'm bullish on the actual meta of RWAs and real estate and all these things on chain. And I think they at least earned that much, like a more of a deep dive into what they're doing. But I am surprised that they don't have more information on the token. They have more about their stablecoin than their token, which is a little bit interesting. But yeah, that's my verdict. Kind of boring, but I think you could have anticipated that.
No, it's a good verdict. It doesn't surprise me that they have a lot of information on the stablecoin. If I was able to launch a compliant stablecoin, I'd be bragging about it too. So I think it's pretty cool. But I think you touched on all very valid points. There's a lot here that we haven't looked at. We need to be fair. Like this is a layer 1 blockchain, and typically layer 1 blockchains on the 10-minute eye test have been difficult because there's so much to look at, including ecosystem builders, traction, like the different partners that they've onboarded, the contracts that are being made with official partners outside of the blockchain space, because this is, like we said, RWA. It's not living within the Web3 world. But yeah, I think based off of what I've seen, I know that there's a huge demand for infrastructure that's specifically catered towards real world assets, or the tokenization of real world assets. I think this will and must happen regardless. And so I think Plume is taking a nice step in this direction. I like the idea that they're talking about public infrastructure. But yeah, I'm still left very confused. It's not like the tokenomics are bad. It's like there's no tokenomics. Like we have no idea what the token's used for, what it plans to be used for, how the fee structures are set up. Maybe this is purposeful. Maybe, they're trying to be a little bit vague because some of these structures are still being developed or decided. That's okay. But I think for now, I've seen enough to tell me that I'm interested to learn more, but I definitely would not consider investing right now because I don't know what I'm investing into. There's been no mention of the token in any of the documentation, which is weird because on all the Web3 or crypto websites you go to, that's all they're talking about.
Yep.
But I would say one thumb sideways. Plume, great job on your launch though. Like you said, I think we've met them before and we're in discussions with them actively. They seem like really great guys that are dedicated to making a huge impact in the world of traditional financial instruments on chain. And I know they're going to do quite well. So, great job on the token launch. Best of luck with the future of what the company holds. And thanks to everyone for watching. As always, again, tap that like button, throw us a follow, and stick around because next week we've got some more content coming out. And until then, stay safe, everybody. Ciao.